When my dad died, everything changed fast. Too fast. One week I was still living in the house I grew up in. The next, my stepmom, Linda, was standing in the kitchen with her arms crossed, telling me I had 30 days to leave. She didn't cry when my dad passed. She didn't even pretend. Instead, she started calling the house hers. She reminded me daily that my name wasn't on the deed, that I was an adult now, and that she needed a fresh start. I tried to reason with her. I told her this was still my home, that my dad would never want me thrown out. She smiled tightly and said, "Your father and I handled everything legally." 30 days turned into 2 weeks, then 1 week. She cut off my access to the garage, changed the Wi-Fi password. Finally, she packed my belongings into trash bags and left them on the porch. I moved into a tiny apartment across town with borrowed money and a borrowed mattress. I was angry, but more than that, I was confused. My dad was careful, meticulous. He double-checked everything. Something about the way Linda rushed to sell the house didn't sit right with me. 2 months later, I saw the "for sale" sign go up. Open houses every weekend, a new coat of paint, staged furniture. Linda was already spending money like the sale was guaranteed. That's when I remembered something small, something my dad had mentioned years earlier, during a boring conversation I barely paid attention to at the time. "The house isn't as simple as it looks," he had said once. "Paperwork matters." I didn't know what that meant back then, but I decided to find out. I went to the county records office and requested copies of everything tied to the property: deeds, permits, amendments. I didn't expect much, maybe an old lien, maybe nothing. Then I saw it. A document filed over a decade ago, a handwritten amendment attached to the original deed. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't bold, but it was very clear. The house had been placed into a family trust, and Linda's name wasn't the only one on it. Mine was. Not as a full owner, not as someone who could sell the house, but as a required beneficiary with occupancy rights, rights that couldn't be terminated without written consent. My consent. I sat there staring at the paper, heart pounding. Linda hadn't just kicked me out emotionally. She'd done it illegally. And now she was trying to sell a house she didn't fully control. I didn't call her. I didn't warn her. I waited.
The first deal fell through quietly. Then the second. Then the third. Linda started panicking. I heard about it from a neighbor who still talked to me. Buyers loved the house. Inspections were clean. Financing approved. But every time it reached the final paperwork stage, something stopped it cold. Title issues. Unresolved occupancy rights. A third-party beneficiary refusing to sign. That was me. The title company had contacted me directly after discovering my name in the trust. They were polite, professional. They asked if I was aware my consent was required to sell the property. I told them the truth. I was forced out of that house. Everything froze after that. Linda called me for the first time in months, not to apologize, not to explain, to demand. "What did you do?" she snapped over the phone. "I did nothing," I said calmly. "I just exist on the paperwork you ignored." She threatened lawyers. I already had one. She accused me of revenge. I reminded her she changed the locks. Time passed. Weeks passed. Mortgage payments stacked up. The market cooled. Her dream price dropped, then dropped again. Finally, she asked to meet. We sat at the same kitchen table where she'd once told me to pack my things. Her confidence was gone. Her voice shook. "I just need your signature," she said. "Then this can all be over." I looked around the house, my house, the one she erased me from. I'll sign under one condition. She leaned forward. Anything. I asked for what my dad intended all along. Fair compensation for my share, reimbursement for the illegal eviction, and written acknowledgement that she had no right to force me out. She tried to argue, but she didn't have leverage anymore. The sale couldn't happen without me. She signed. The house sold months later for far less than she bragged about. I used my portion to buy something small but mine. No locks changed, no threats, no fear. Linda moved out of state. We don't speak. Sometimes people think revenge has to be loud, destructive, cruel. Mine was quiet. It was a single overlooked detail on a piece of paper, one she never thought to read, and it cost her everything she tried to take from me.